Hey everyone, Eric here from the EVH and Gear TV network, and of course, Walking Dead with a promised recap of episode 3 of season 9 of The Walking Dead, entitled this evening, Warning Signs and Holy Cow. So several theories have gone out the window. One of the theories that I was sharing earlier on the channel here today was the fact that we might see Justin's face as a whisperer, that might possibly be the demise of Rick. And so we're obviously all waiting to see what happened to Justin. And man, oh man, I did not expect to see that we would see him before the opening credits, what happened to him. And as we saw, obviously Justin had been killed by whoever that may be. We would maybe possibly find out later on in the evening, and we did find out. And it was almost looking like it was Daryl for a little bit. And then we also suspected, with Rick talking to Daryl later on in the evening, or throughout the episode, I should say, that it was a small wound that kind of possibly looked like a crossbow wound. Rick questioned Daryl about it, and Daryl says, "Do you think I did it?" And of course, Rick says, "No." But it was a very, very small wound. And for a brief moment, just for a brief moment, I was thinking, who's the other person that has a crossbow with a small, weapon like that, of a small entrance wound like that? And we're thinking possibly Dwight. And, Dwight is, a lot of people are saying, well, we see him in season 9. It's been rumored that he may make a return. I think there might be some IMDb references, but there really isn't a solid return of Dwight. But that was certainly a thought I had at one moment. But what we saw, just like I was kind of talking about in earlier videos today, a lot of conflict. The Saviors are certainly not happy to be part of Rick's group. There are a few, but people are disappearing. They're walking off and they're not returning. And a lot of that we were kind of foreshadowing and kind of guessing that the Whisperers had a lot to do with it. But I don't think that's not necessarily the case. There's a lot of disgruntled women out there who lost their husbands, and I think they're obviously starting to take some actions into their own hands, taking the law into their own hands. And several things I thought about tonight's episode, and I know I get accused of this a lot of times. I ramble and I go off in different directions, but please hear me out, and I'll try to wrangle this all back together. But what my thoughts are with this is there's so much kind of untrust with Rick. I saw it right even from the get-go with Michonne. Even Michonne, when Rick and Michonne are kind of having some intimate, quiet moments, and and like Rick's kind of asking Michonne, like, kind of, do you trust me, whatever, and she's kind of like, yeah, but you know what, us guys, we kind of sense this thing with our wives or our girlfriends or our better halves or whatever you want to call it. Sometimes they say, yeah, I'm with you, but you can read between the lines, and when a woman is not exactly on board with your thoughts. And as much as Michonne loves Rick through and through, and will kind of do whatever, I don't want to say whatever he says. That's not the right word. But she believes everything Rick says and will kind of back that up. And I think even she had some hesitation in some of Rick's thoughts. And that was kind of a brief moment of kind of pause, like, oh boy, if Michonne doesn't want to have like 100% invested belief in where Rick's direction is, then that's a bit of a problem. And the underlying theme tonight was, all lives matter kind of thing. And, Rick was, because Rick talks about, there's so many times I want to go down to that cell and kill Negan. And he goes, that consumes me. He basically wants to kill Negan. Every time he wakes up in the morning, it's that thought he wants to kill Negan. But all lives matter. And the world today belongs to the dead. We have to preserve the living. And even Carol, later on in the episode, kind of was very, very sarcastic. Yeah, the world, all lives matter now, right? After she was almost killed, when Jed pulled a knife on her. And I think we're going to see some serious problems with Jed. And there's also unconfirmed, many rumors out there that he is going to have a part in Rick's departure as well too. There's so many weird things going on with this show, but I can say this. What did you guys and girls think about the references? They're really, really setting this up with Rick's departure. We heard about Abraham. We heard about Glenn's departure tonight. We heard about Sasha's departure tonight. We even heard about Merle. Can you believe that? So they're really bringing us back, and the writing tonight was fantastic. But the fact that they're bringing us back through season 1 with just name drops alone bring us back to all those episodes way back into the first season. When Rick's saying to, Daryl, maybe trust me, the person that didn't kill your brother that was left on a rooftop to possibly die, whatever, I didn't kill him, right? So they're bringing us through this emotional roller coaster. And then earlier in other episodes here on the channel, I've talked about Jadis or Anne. And I think now we're probably going to many of us refer to her as Jadis as a traitor. It was really cool to see her have a relationship with Father Gabriel. And Father Gabriel is one of those people throughout various seasons. I was almost like, can we just get rid of him? And he really did prove himself worthy, and he earned he's still not one of my favorite characters, but he has earned his right to be where he is. And he questioned Jadis, and I'm going to start referring to her as Jadis from now on. And I hope that's cool, because I do look to her as a traitor. And I was digging her character. I really did. The writing was good, made me dig the character. But she totally betrayed Father Gabriel, and she is not one to trust whatsoever. And I think we're going to see some real problems, possibly as early as next week, episode 4. And then throughout later on, fast forward into the evening, almost to the end of the very episode, we see Daryl and Maggie in the woods, and they actually literally turn their back on something. It's like, we need some laws in place here to govern things where, we're going to have more Gregory hangings. Are we going to have this? We're going to have that. And and I don't want to spoil this, but when something went really, really wrong in the episode tonight towards the end, or as far as a punishment, we'll say, Daryl and Maggie literally turned their backs and walked away. And I was like, oh my goodness, like they're literally walking away, watching. And basically, we don't see what's happening. We know it's going to happen, but we'll let you guys handle it. And that was something to do with the Oceanside people. It's absolutely amazing. I do think we're going to have a lot to worry about with this Jed character. He's one of the ones that are, since obviously post-Justin, is one of the ones making the most ruckus or commotion with what's going on with the group. And I really don't know where we're going to go from here. I just know that's going to be very treacherous. And I do feel the underlying tone. And actually, this is something too, as well, too. The fact that, and this is going back to the earlier part of the episode, and please forgive me when I say I do ramble, and I've been accused of that as oftentimes here on the channel, and I do. But it's one of those things where, all of us, when we're talking Walking Dead, it's easy to go left, right, and center, all over the place, fast forward, rewind. But Rick's talking to Michonne about, starting a new future. And who else detected that about possibly having a baby, Michonne being pregnant? And I think that was the scene that kind of led up to, it was kind of an innuendo, if I may say that, and there was a kind of a little cut scene there, whatever, and what was going on. I think we'll see that. I do think the emotion was so very high with, Rick and Michonne reading to Judith, little, kind of nursery rhymes, and Michonne had to kind of step away while Rick continued reading the story while she dealt with the issue at hand. And, obviously I was talking about Justin's death. It's amazing. It's really, really painting this, not a painting, it's literally pulling us by the heartstrings, through all this emotion. Rick's like the super dad, and I really do think he's a great dad. And that's very argumentative, because he's done some things that possibly, let his son die or maybe let other people die. But I do think he's a good dad. We saw the scene, which we saw in the earlier parts of the trailer for season 9, Rick heading out, to check out. He wakes up in the morning. He puts his hand on the boards from the porch with both Carl and Judith's handprint on there. We saw that. We didn't know when that was going to appear, but that was leaked in the trailer, or was issued in the trailer. And we got to see that very emotional time. And they are really, really, hitting us in the heart for sure. And I don't want to compare The Walking Dead to Breaking Bad, but I'm going to go there for a second because there is a connection in some way. People that watch Breaking Bad and The Walking Dead, they like both shows, and there's always these little, kind of subliminal connections between the two shows. There's always like the fan theories and things like that. But what I'm feeling right now in The Walking Dead season 9, I'm feeling what I felt in the last season of Breaking Bad. You just feel this huge uproar. Like, perfect example, today I've been battling a stomach bug, something fierce, absolutely fierce, but I've been fighting it like tax season, and I feel like my stomach is going to erupt at any time. And it's been a really good day here for the Walking Dead world, especially on my channel. I'm very happy about it. But what I'm trying to get at is my stomach feels like it's going to erupt at any minute. And I feel that's what's about to happen on The Walking Dead. Just like Breaking Bad, that final season, you feel like it's just going to explode at any given moment. And it's building up to that. We've got unrest with Daryl. We've got unrest with Carol on Rick. We've got certainly unrest with Maggie on Rick. And then, of course, there's turmoil at every turn with the Saviors. And I know Rick says, it's a good thing we have to. Every life matters. We can't kill people anymore. And, the fact of bringing the Saviors into the fold is not a good thing. It's just not. There's a few people that want to be on board. They want to be Team Rick. But I think there's more people that would rather fight for their own lives and fight for number one, and that's themselves. So I think we're set up for a great episode 4. I think the writing tonight was fantastic. Here again, I'm not going to be one of those guys that's going to 10 plus. I commented on this again tonight on some forums. I really wish people wouldn't give them the 10 plus. And as someone pointed out in one of the comments I made on a social media group, I said, don't do the 10 pluses. And someone else said, you know what? Well, if it makes them happy and that there was a 10 plus to them, then awesome. And I agree with that. But invest in the moment. Don't invest in, I guess that's not necessarily true as well too, because if you're investing in the moment, you might say it's a 10 plus, but think of the future. We're potentially 2 episodes away now from Rick leaving us, and it's going to be really, really hard to deal with. But there was a lot of twists and turns tonight, and as we started off with my speech at the beginning of this episode, I did not think we're going to see what happened to Justin that quick. And actually, that's pretty cool. A lot of us have been blaming The Walking Dead over previous seasons as to dragging out. Tonight was certainly not an example of that. It gave it to us before we even had the opening credits. Absolutely amazing. So I am very thrilled with the episode tonight. I'm not disappointed in any sense. I'm shocked in a lot of cases. The fact that, it's like, okay, we do have some kind of laws, or we're trying to at least come up with some laws. But if we turn our back sometimes, we'll turn a blind eye to what's going to happen. And speaking of blind eyes, let's really keep our fingers crossed for Father Gabriel with one blind eye and, being at the end of a pistol whip of Jadis. And again, I'll say Jadis. I no longer want to refer to her as Anne, and I'm really disappointed. I'd love to have Pollyanna McIntosh on my show as a guest, and I've reached out to her camp as well. But I certainly do not look at her as Anne anymore, and a character that I really trust. And it's going to be something really interesting to see where we're going from there. Walkie-talkies in the dead of night, and Father Gabriel happened to follow her back to the junkyard. We're in for a real treat for episode 4. Again, please accept my apologies for rambling different directions in here. This is a brand new content series here on the EVH and Gear TV network, and I do hope you enjoy it. And if you're new here, please subscribe, thumbs up, and also share your comments down below what you thought about tonight's episode. And we'll look forward to having this communication further, and we'll be having more videos come out throughout the week. And we'll look forward to episode 4 next Sunday. We waited so long to get the Return of the Walking Dead. We're already three episodes into it. And I really hope you enjoyed this evening's episode, and I hope you've enjoyed some of the content I've shared here on the channel. So listen, until the next time, I wish you the best, and till then, cheers.